Hello, Mr. Martino here from your favorite teacher. Today's lesson is going to continue on the substitution theme in algebra, and we're going to be looking at formulae. Formulae is the plural of a formula, and a formula is a mathematical rule to calculate a value of something. We know several different types of formula, like the area of a triangle. We know that it's half base times height, so we write for our formula A equal a half BH. If we know what B and H are, then we can always calculate A. Another formula is what's the area of a trapezium. The area of a trapezium is A is equal to a half of A plus B, the two parallel sides added together, times H once again. We need to know values for at least 3 of those variables to be able to calculate any one of the others. We can also say what's the volume of a cuboid. So in this case, V is length times width times height. And finally, the velocity of an object has a formula as well. V is equal to U plus AT, where U is initial velocity, A is acceleration, and T is time. So all of these are formulae. We use our formulae to calculate things once we know the values of some of the variables in the formulae. So let's take a look at these two shapes. First of all, the shape on the left we recognize as a triangle, and specifically a right angle triangle. So we know that we can say A is equal to a half base times height. We can look at the triangle and see what are those values. So we can put those values into our formula, and then when we calculate it, it becomes 6 times 5 is 30, and a half of 30 is 15. So the area of that triangle is 15 cm squared. The shape on the right we should recognize as a trapezium, and that also has its own formula. So we write what is the formula of a trapezium. So we have A is equal to a half of A plus B times H. In this case, the two parallel sides are length 4 cm and 7 cm. So our formula becomes A is equal to a half of 4 plus 7 times 5 by substituting in the values. And when we do that calculation, we get A is equal to 27.5 cm squared. We can also create our own formula. Sometimes we are given information in the form of a question, and we have to make our own formula based on what the question is asking us to do. So let's take a look at this question. It says the cost of a London cab journey is stated as cost C is equal to £2.40 initial charge plus £1.50 for every mile driven. And the question asks us to put this into a formula. So the first thing we have to do is think, how are we going to actually get the cost? The cost, C, is going to be equal to £2.40, because no matter how far we travel, it's going to be £2.40 in any event. And for every mile, we have to add another £1.50. So if we went 2 miles, it would be add £3. If we went 4 miles, it would be add £6. So in a formula perspective, it is m times 150. So that is the total cost of a cab journey. So that's our formula. We can then use the formula to calculate any journey as long as we know how many miles we've gone. In this case, it says, what is the cost of a 12-mile journey? So we now know what the value of m is. So we put m into the formula. So it becomes c is equal to 240 plus 12 times 150. And our cost, if we add up and multiply using bid mass, is £20.40. So now you take a look at these questions and see if you can answer the questions that are asked. It should take you about 7 to 10 minutes. So you can pause the video at this point in time before we go on to the answers. Okay, we can now go on to the answers. So number 1, our cost would be 50 plus 60h. And if we put 2.5 hours into it, we get a total cost of £200. In the second instance, it was total cost is 1.25d plus 0.75c. And when we substitute our number of donuts and coffee cups, we get a total cost of £7.25. And finally, number 3, we recognize the shape as a trapezium. So we put our trapezium area formula there, and then we substitute into the formula to get 60 cm squared. I hope this was helpful. This is Mr. Martino for your favorite teacher.